What is going on, chat, man? Today I got my LeBron fan friend with me. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Today we are reacting to Destroy the Myth that Michael Jordan dominated a weak era. This was highly anticipated and highly recommended. As you guys know, he is a big LeBron fan.
Massive LeBron fan, bro. Right now I got Kyrie Irving's jersey on, but bro, you're telling me that LeBron didn't have to go through hard teams, bro? He had to go through the Warriors, to go through the Spurs, bro. He had to fight so many tough teams. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan definitely played in a weak era, bro.
Bro, listen, chat. This guy told me that he genuinely thinks that Michael Jordan played in a weak era. And since I've been learning a lot about Michael Jordan, thanks to you guys, recommending me good, amazing content, I had to put him on. I had to, But with that being said, let's get straight into the video. If you guys are new to my channel, you like old NBA content, hit the subscribe button, man. Join the crew. But with that being said, let's go. Okay. Little bag work. Yeah, that was a hard team, but Jordan went against a harder era. I'm gonna be honest. You gonna see today. You gonna see today, man.
It's a narrative we've heard over and over again, often from people who want to diminish Jordan's legacy. The claim is that Michael Jordan dominated a weak era. He didn't start winning until Magic got HIV, until Bird retired because of back problems, and until the Pistons run was
That's
done.
all cap!
People assume that because Jordan couldn't win in the 80s, but then won in the 90s, that it's because the competition weakened. But that's an opinion that's severely lacking context. When Jordan was losing in the 80s, Michael was performing at an MVP level, but Scottie Pippen hadn't developed into a co-star until about 1990. Up until that point, Jordan was alone.
So what does that tell you? Michael Jordan couldn't do what he had to do until Scottie Pippen came around, fam.
No, that doesn't mean anything. You have to... Listen, we're only 50 seconds in. You're trying to beat me to a whole point when we haven't even started in a minute. Come on, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
A collection of role players going up against the super teams of the 80s. As good as Jordan was, alone he wasn't enough to take down a collection of all-stars like Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish.
Those were super teams.
The Pistons team with
Super
Isaiah
teams,
Thomas,
by the way.
Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, and Dennis Rodman. It takes a team to win in the NBA.
And by the way,
into a co-star.
A very, very important thing during this is, during the 80s, Michael Jordan went against the Bad Boy Pistons. Are you familiar with the Bad Boy Pistons? You're not. Those guys made a Jordan rule, and it wasn't a normal rule. It was generally to beat up and beat down Jordan on the basketball court. Just to beat him, because they couldn't beat him without hurting him. That played a big part, by the way, in his career. But let's go.
The Bulls never looked back. There's also the narrative that when the Bulls finally broke through and beat the Pistons in 1991, it was because the Pistons had become old and the Bulls were younger.
No.
This is a bogus narrative that does nothing but discredit the Bulls' greatness. The Pistons' best player, Isaiah Thomas, was only 29 years old. Joe Dumars was 27 years old, Mark Aguirre was 31, Bill Laimbeer was 33, and Dennis Rodman was 29. Most of their best players were in the prime age of their careers, yet the Bulls were too much for them. At that point, we had seen the Bulls and Pistons face each other in the playoffs 4 years in a row.
What?
So although the matchup between the Bulls and Pistons was...
What'd you just say?
Youngins messing them up.
Youngins messing them up?
Yeah.
Chat, this guy is gonna learn. So you guys will see probably the progression during this video.
Let's see, bro.
Getting old, the Pistons certainly were not. The Bulls didn't start winning because the talent around the league had weakened. They won because a prime Jordan got some much-needed help that the other stars like Thomas and Bird had been enjoying throughout the 1980s.
Wow.
This weak era narrative doesn't just stem from Jordan's failures in the 80s, but it also comes from people discrediting the teams he faced in the finals throughout the 90s. So with that being said, let's break it down year by year, looking at each team Jordan faced in the NBA Finals.
You're gonna learn.
The 1991 LA Lakers. The 91 Lakers finished the year with the third best record in the Western Conference with a 58-24 record. They were led by a still elite Magic Johnson, who even at 32 years old, still put up his usual 20 points and 12 assists per game. James Worthy was his usual running mate, who was averaging 21 points per game over the course of the year. There was also quality supporting players like Byron Scott, Vlade Divac, and Sam Perkins.
You're telling me
With
these
all
guys
that
were
being said,
scrubs?
This was not the same Lakers team of the 1980s. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had recently retired, and both James Worthy and Byron Scott suffered injuries in Game 4 of the series versus the Bulls. Magic Johnson simply didn't have enough support to make the series interesting for Jordan and the Bulls, and the Bulls won the championship comfortably in only 5 games. In my opinion, this was the easiest opposition.
What does that tell you? It was comfortable. And out of 5 games, 4-1 they won it, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Comfortably.
You think that was like genuinely what it was? That he just won it super easily because they were injured? That's what you think?
That don't make sense.
Okay, keep going.
Faced in the NBA Finals.
Chad, does he have a point?
Portland Trailblazers.
Let me know down
The
below.
92 Blazers finished the regular season with a 57-25 record, which was the best record in the Western Conference. They were coached by Rick Adelman, who was a respected coach around the league and an annual Coach of the Year candidate. Adelman won nearly 60% of his games over his career and regularly coached teams into being elite squads defensively. This Portland team was no exception, as they were ranked the 3rd best team in the league defensively that year. They were obviously led by Clyde Drexler, who was in the prime of his career, averaging 25 points, 7 boards, and 7 assists. Clyde was the 2nd best shooting guard in the league behind Jordan.
Exactly.
Behind their superstar in Clyde, they had plenty of depth to back him up. Clyde's co-star was the point guard Terry Porter, who averaged nearly 20 points per game and orchestrated the team's elite offense.
So you're telling me that's a weak era? 26 points per game. He averages like 20 points per game, and he has to go and get these guys in the finals. You're not too familiar with ball. This guy was good. I'm telling you, Clyde Drexler was a monster.
Yeah, I know Clyde Drexler.
Terry was also one of the most lethal and efficient three-point shooters in the game, which helped spread the floor for the Blazers. At small forward, they had the 29-year-old Jerome Kersey, who just 2 years prior was averaging 20 points per game of his own. They also had Buck Williams at power forward, who was a walking double-double. He was the Rookie of the Year his first year in the league, and Buck was also one of the best defenders in the league at his position.
Wow.
Buck made 4 all-defense teams and was a 3-time NBA All-Star. On top of all of that,
we proven him wrong, Chad.
And veteran players with experience, like the scrappy Danny Ainge, Clifford Robertson, and Kevin Duckworth, and each of those guys had made All-Star appearances in their careers. The Deep Blazers had a total of 6 players who averaged double-digit scoring that year, compared to the Bulls, who only had 3 players, Jordan, Pippen, and Horace Grant. So I think you get the point. This Blazers squad was absolutely loaded with talent, and although many of the names on that team have since been forgotten, it would have been absolutely ludicrous in 1992 if you had said their team was weak. The 1993 Phoenix Suns. The 93 Suns had finished the NBA season with a 62-20 record, which was the best record in the entire NBA.
I'm telling you.
Not only did they have the best record in the league and the league's top-rated offense, but they also had the league MVP. Charles Barkley was one of the...
See? Listen. Charles Barkley was so good during the time, he actually got MVP over Jordan. Which seems crazy or not, he actually got MVP over Jordan. And he had to play him in the finals. Jordan had to play him in the finals. And they had the best record. They were actually probably the favorite that year. If I'm not mistaken, chat, can you guys let me know down below? What's your take on that, though? What do you think so far? Are we proving you wrong right now?
I don't think enough has been said yet.
Greatest players in NBA history,
Okay.
who was just 29 years old and coming off of a season where he averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Helping Barkley was an elite 26-year-old point guard, Kevin Johnson, who was a 3-time All-Star and had been on 5 All-NBA teams. Kevin Johnson, the energy and effort behind the Suns season, and had averaged 18 points and 9 assists that year. On this year's Suns was also the recently acquired Danny Ainge, who crossed paths with Jordan a lot in the playoffs. They also had Dan Marley, who was one of the best wing defenders in the NBA at this time, and was also an elite 3-point shooter who was chipping in 17 points per game that season.
Okay.
Add in quality veteran scorers like Tom Chambers and Cedric Ceballos, and what you have is one of the greatest teams ever to fail to win a championship.
Just naming anyone and call him a
I'm telling you
defender.
guys, this
Bro,
Phoenix
and they're
team
being
was
like, oh,
incredible.
Jordan played such a hard era. They're just naming people, bro. They're just naming the whole roster, fam.
That's what you're thinking right now? You
That's
don't
absolutely, bro. They're just naming the whole roster, and they're saying, bro, you have to play against, the point guard, the shooting guard, the small forward, power forward, the set. They're just naming every position, bro.
So, according to, LeBron's era, are you taking, like, the Warriors, the Spurs? Like, what are you thinking? Like, do you think these teams, like, LeBron's competition even compares to this so far? Or...
Yeah, LeBron's competition was so much tougher, in my opinion.
So much tougher?
Yeah.
Do you think the basketball and, LeBron's
and how
era,
much has progressed in basketball since 93?
93,
to, bro, the eras that we have seen the past 20 years of LeBron versus 30-some years ago?
Okay. Respectable.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
They had absolutely everything, but it just wasn't meant to be. The Bulls were clicking at the right time, and Jordan had arguably the greatest final series of any player ever, as he averaged an incredible 41 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 6.3 assists over a hard-fought 6-game series. The 1996 Seattle SuperSonics. This Sonics team was another nasty one. The 96 Sonics finished their season with a 64-18 record, which was the best record in the Western Conference, but was still overshadowed by the Bulls' 72-10 record. They were coached by a Coach of the Year winner, George Karl, and with the exception of Jordan's Bulls, the Sonics had the best defense in the league that season. This Sonics group didn't have a single player who averaged over 20 points per game that season, but they were extremely gritty and well-balanced. They had their prime
Does that change your whole
of
perspective,
Barry
actually?
Payton and Sean Kemp. Kemp averaged nearly 20 points and 11 boards and was known for his ferocity and aggression around the rim. Payton was also averaging almost 20 points, was an excellent facilitator, and was that season's steals champion and Defensive Player of the Year. Then you had Hersey Hawkins, who was a quality scorer and spark for the Sonics, Detlef Schrempf, a 6'9" small forward.
You see what I mean? They're naming anyone, bro. They're just naming anyone.
So
this is a joke, fam. This is a joke, right? This has to be a joke. They're just naming anyone at this point, bro.
So you don't actually think,
bro? This is a joke. This is a joke, fam.
There's
no way in your right mind, bro. You really think Jordan played harder competition? There's no way. This is a joke video. This guy wasted his time. He should just go back. He needs to go back to a 9-to-5 job, bro. That joke, bro. But I'll keep playing your beloved video, fam.
17 points per game that season. These are the type of guys that people don't remember, but who are the difference makers in playoff basketball. This Sonics team was definitely championship worthy. With their collective talent and their gritty defensive identity, they really remind me of the 2003-2004 Detroit Pistons, who used their team effort to take down the super team Lakers. As worthy as the Sonics team was, no one was beating Jordan and the 72-10 Bulls that season. The 1997 Utah Jazz. The 97 Jazz finished the regular season with a 64-18 record, which was the best record in all of the Western Conference. The Jazz were the second best offense in the league that season, behind Jordan's Bulls, and they were also a top 10 defensive team. If you exclude Magic Johnson and Tim Duncan, then the 97 Jazz had arguably the greatest power forward ever and the greatest point guard ever in their starting five. Stockton and Malone were a dynamic, championship-worthy tandem on...
We can agree that we know Stephen Curry is better than John Stockton, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's no better point guard than Stephen Curry.
Okay, but Karl Malone and John Stockton, this was a deadly matchup, bro. Deadly matchup. This was actually insane, too, because Jordan had the flu, too. So, let's keep going.
Both the offensive end and the defensive end. Even beyond Stockton and Malone, the Jazz had plenty of depth that's been forgotten over the years, like Jeff Hornacek, who was a consistent and reliable third option for the Jazz, who was one of the best three-point shooters in the league. You know this Jazz...
Why are you looking at me like that?
By simply considering...
Why are you looking at me like that? You don't... Oh my... Okay, keep going.
Who they had to beat just to get to the finals. In the Western Conference Finals, the Jazz defeated the Houston Rockets in 6 games. A Rockets super team stacked with Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and Clyde Drexler leading the way.
Jordan had to go against that.
This Jazz team earned their stripes, but the Bulls handled them comfortably in 6 games. The 1998 Utah Jazz. The 98 Jazz had relatively the same strong roster and finished the regular season with the best offense in the league and a 62-20 record. The most significant thing that changed since the previous season was that the Bulls had weakened. Jordan was 35 years old, Rodman was 37 years old, and Pippen was 32 and had missed nearly half of the season due to his laboring back problems. Yet despite all of those disadvantages, Jordan still led the Bulls to win in 6 games over the Jazz for their second straight season. In that final series, Jordan quite literally carried the Bulls as he averaged 33.5 points of the Bulls' 88 points per game that series. Now that I've recapped each finals team Jordan faced in the 90s, I want to make my closing point about generational talent. It's easy for the casual NBA fan to look at Jordan's competition of the 90s and criticize it because people simply don't remember the talent, or weren't even watching at the time, so they don't truly know how talented those teams were. Think of the impact players in today's game, like Andre Iguodala, Steven Adams, Lou Williams, and Eric Gordon. These are just a few examples of talented players.
Exactly. These are talented basketball players that are they play their role and they do exactly what they need to be doing on the team. The players that you were saying that are like, he's just naming people, they're just like these guys, bro. They're just doing their role on the team. And these guys are actually popular. Lou Williams, Steven Adams, you know who those guys are, you know? So it's like a whole different thing.
Players who are often the difference in wins and losses for their teams. But in a few decades, no one will be talking about these guys the same way no one talks about guys like Terry Porter, Dan Marley, Detlef Schrempf, and Jeff Hornacek. At a certain point, people won't remember the overall talent of teams, and it becomes just about the stars. The young casuals will say things like, "So Jordan and Pippen beat Barkley in the finals, big deal. What else did Barkley have?" A lot, actually. Heck, sometimes it's not even the solid role players who get forgotten, but sometimes it's even the star players themselves.
Facts. Do you even know a lot about Clyde Drexler?
A modern player who could eventually be forgotten is Paul George. Sure, he puts up great numbers and was even an MVP candidate for a while this year, but in 2 to 3 decades, people won't be talking about this guy. How do I know this? Because I've already seen it with guys like Adrian Dantley, Sidney Moncrief, Clyde Drexler, and Alex English. These were guys who averaged 25 to 30 points per game and carried their franchises year in and year out. But into the future, people generally don't talk about the greats who didn't win championships. So again, with that in mind, it's easy to
Chris Paul. Yep.
See why people diminish Jordan's competition in the 90s, because when Jordan was playing in the 90s, he was the only one winning. And those are the ones we remember. No matter how you try and spin it, the reality is that Michael Jordan led a Bulls team that dominated an era of legitimate and fierce competition that many people just simply don't remember or just never knew. Thanks for watching my video, guys. Let me know in the comment section how you grew.
Chat, we gotta discuss this. What's your opinion on, the video that you just watched? Your full opinion. Look at the camera, and what's your full opinion?
The video is a joke.
What? You think that Jordan didn't play in a strong era? You think he was genuinely weak?
Nah, I think I'll give it props. I ain't gonna lie. I think all those random little names and whatnot. I kind of see what they're saying. It's like your Kevin Love in the back. You know what I'm saying? On your Cavs team.
Okay.
Or it's not necessarily Andre Iguodala, but Sean Livingston.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those names are gonna get forgotten. They already have been.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, there's certain players that obviously I don't know because they're not from my era. And you just got to give them their respect and props. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I still do believe...
The video isn't a joke, though.
I'll believe that LeBron does have a lot of hard teams he had to go against. I believe more than LeBron or more than Jordan, but maybe we should do a comparison video. How was the different eras?
That's actually a thing. We can do that next. Chat, let us know down below if you guys want us to react to, LeBron and Jordan playoff comparison or, anything you guys want genuinely. Let us know down below. But, chat, this is the end of the video, chat. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, man. And we'll catch y'all next time. Yes, sir.